There have been regular protests in London against Israel in favour of the Palestinians, many saying in favour of Hamas. And yesterday there was, of course, a counter-protest as well. Those are growing in number and size. And what we saw in that video was one woman who wanted a police officer to come and arrest somebody whose banner had a swastika on it. There has been a lot of debate in the UK over freedom of speech and freedom of protest and what constitutes a crime within those protests, whether chants such as "From the River to the Sea" or even people calling for jihad should be seen as encouraging extremism or supporting terrorism. You may have thought that jihad was crossing a line, but apparently it wasn't when that one was seen. There have also been ISIS-styled shahada flags that have been seen in the streets of London. Some of those have led to arrests, but you would have thought that a swastika was fairly cut and dried, unless, of course, the police officer that you saw in that video was the person deciding. He said there is a context in which maybe it wasn't going to cause alarm or be anti-Semitic. Now, the swastika symbol is common in esoteric tantric traditions of Buddhism, along with Hinduism, where it's found with chakra theories and other meditative aids. But it seems rather unlikely that in an anti-Israel protest on the street, that is the context in which the swastika was seen. Now, the police have responded and said that they're aware of that clip that's been going around online, showing an interaction between an officer and a woman, during which there is an exchange over concerns around a protester displaying offensive banners, including swastikas. They say that it's just an extract of a longer 10-minute conversation during which the officer actually told her that the person concerned had already been arrested for a public order offence in relation to a placard. This doesn't seem to fit with what we see in that clip, but without seeing the whole interaction, it's difficult to know exactly what happened. Certainly, the words of the officer there seem fairly clear that he says there are contexts in which that swastika might not be illegal.
Jonathan, I understand there were around 200,000 people taking part in this demonstration on Saturday in London, and just a handful, 4 people arrested, according to reports. First of all, can you confirm that? And what did these people do, these suspects arrested, compared to what we just heard there? Tell us what was so wrong in the eyes of the police in London.
The threshold for the police is that they have to actually definitively be seen to be breaking UK law. So supporting Hamas overtly is, for example, illegal in the UK, since Hamas in its entirety now is a proscribed terrorist organisation. But then, of course, there have been many cases where people have been arrested on the other side, including Nihat Ghorbrani, an Iranian man who, again, was taken aside by the police yesterday in the protest for holding up a banner that he's become famous for that simply says Hamas is terrorist, which is a statement of UK law. We saw a few weeks ago that he was wrestled to the ground by 5 police officers whilst holding up that banner. Eventually, they let him go when he actually told them he had plenty of video footage showing that he'd done nothing wrong. He was seized again yesterday during the counter-protest because he jumped in front of former Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn, who has been seen as a staunch opponent of Israel. Many have even called him anti-Semitic. He presided over an era of anti-Semitism within the Labour Party. And apparently that caused alarm to Mr. Corbyn, and the police once again went for Nihat Ghorbrani, but he was eventually let go.